Hello people of the internet. Yesterday we worked on making the UI for the Podman Compose restart command more pretty. It was a much bigger struggle than I originally expected, but we ultimately managed to find the correct place where the output needed to be changed, and we we basically started printing some new output, but we couldn't do the full UI within the video because it was too basically I needed 2 more hours to make something out of it, and we only had 1 hour on the video. Basically when I worked on it later, I changed the UI. So if you can see, when you run Python, the Podman Compose script and restart, it now prints the restarting status, how many containers out of how many containers. It prints the green check mark. The started is printed in green as well. Now this is live updated the same way that the Docker Compose is. So at first there is restarting O from 1, and there is not the check mark but the progress bar, like a spinner or throbber, how they are called. And this is at first restarting and then started, so the output is updated. If you take a look at the code, I'm using the rich package to do so, and we basically wrote this on a video. So basically, if a printer is passed, then use the printer, and this is what I came up after the recording. Basically, we defined the printer, and we had 2 lines here basically, so I changed it to this. And if you take a look, it's quite complicated, but we define this live object from the rich package, and we start the live command. In the end we stop it, and we put a group of multiple items into the live block or live whatever. So we have the heading, which says the restarting number out of number. We have the container, for every container, at the moment we have only one. For every container we have this spinner section, and we have the text for it, and so on. So in every thread for every container we basically update the text, whether it failed or started correctly. That's all the explanation I want to do at this moment. So you can see it's clearly not finished. I have hard-coded value here, hard-coded values here, and so on. It is only for the restart command. There is time sleep, so it can be clearly seen that it changes the status. So this is only a demo. I submitted a pull request against the Podman Compose project, and we will see if they like it or not. If yes, that's what I said basically in my pull request. If they like it, I will continue working on this and finish the pull request, and I can eventually update all of the subcommands, not only the restart command. If they don't like it or they don't comment on this, then this will be our last attempt. Basically, I would just bump it and see. I don't want to do everything and then figure out that maybe the library is, that the used library is not ideal or something like that. So this is what I wanted to do. I submitted a pull request. Now we are waiting. We will do if they like it, we will do all the other commands on video together. That being said, today we are not going to do any programming. Today we are going to review pull requests, because that's what you need to do as well. It's not as fun as writing new code, but it has to be done. So we have a pull request from an outside contributor named Anton. Thank you very much, or Tony, thank you very much for the pull request. It's very much appreciated. I hope you don't mind being reviewed on a video, but I briefly checked and the pull request looks really good, so basically there is no reason to, I don't know, feel ashamed about it or something like that. I mean, it looks very good and it's very appreciated, and I just want to test if it works, so I hope you don't mind. If yes, please let me know and I can take the video down or something like that. So what Tony did is fix some errors and warnings when building our documentation. So if we don't check out his pull request and go just to the main branch, we could pull new changes. So we are in the main branch. We can go to the documentation and we can we do something like make clean? I usually just rmrf the directory, but okay, yeah, let's do that. So rmrf, is it called build? Is it called output? I'm not sure. Or static main. Wow, maybe I don't have it. If we go to git Copr doc, yeah, I think it should be called build, so I probably don't have anything built. If we do make build, make HTML, so yeah, now we have underscore build HTML, right? What errors do we have here? Build succeeded. I mean, I don't see any warnings though. Are we talking about the same directory? It is possible we are not talking about the same directory. Oh, I see. So, okay, I was looking at an incorrect directory. This talks about the Python documentation. The doc here only changes config. It's strange that it needs to be. All right, so let's take a look at the first one. I'm curious about this. Oh, and I shouldn't have shown you this, so I will obscure the video. So doc config be in documentation. And let's open this and let's navigate to it manually. So doc conf.py, this one. So we have import Sphinx. Yep, this one. And it complains about it not being used. Oh. I understand why we have it. So the only reason why we import it is to check if it's available at the current machine. If yes, then it can be used. If not, then we need to error out. So this check makes sense. Can I have a condition in Python checking if a module is available? Or do we have to do the try except, which I think I wrote? You can check without importing. So we could use something like this. If I used something like this, Sphinx RTD theme, and we don't have this, or let's have this still. So if I do this and have a breakpoint here and store this to foo, make HTML, what's in foo? Right, so module spec. If I do a typo here, foo is none. All right, so this can be changed. So I think Tony said something about the import. The import is not needed at all, but we'll have try except block work as expected is success from my side. Yep. I think what we found is useful. This is good enough. This is good enough, but if we wanted to avoid the disabled linter and the try except block, we could use, so we could use something like, if this, then nothing, but if not this, then like this, right? So we shouldn't even get to the breakpoint now. Configuration error, please install the theme. And if we have it correctly, now we get to the breakpoint. So this most certainly works. Python. Let's start the review so we don't spam everybody. Now, this was the only thing that was inside of the documentation. The rest of it is inside of the documentation for the Python client. So let's jump to, yep, this works. Let's jump to the Python package, and the docs is here. So I think we need to go to docs and probably the same, make HTML. Oh yes, oh yes. We have a lot of errors here. If we do it again, we have the same amount of errors. All right, so we don't need to remove the build results. Now, we will check out this pull request and try it. So we jump here, check out the pull request, and make HTML without any errors. Thank you. This is great. This is really good. Thank you very much. So if we remove the build directory and try from scratch, still no errors. This is perfect. So what issues can we find here? This looks very good. This looks very good too. Same. It's everything the same. So, yep. Orphan. I have never seen orphan, but makes sense. Yep. Those two are obsolete. I think if we take a look at client v1, yeah, this is obsolete. I don't think we link to it anymore because the API is dead. We just want to have it for the historical reference, but the API version 1 and the API version 2 doesn't work anymore. If we go to docs, Python, Copr, yep, we only link to the version 3 now. So the orphan is good. If we take a look at the documentation, what it says, so Sphinx orphan, you should not mark orphan for included files. Yeah, we don't include them. All right. What exactly in Sphinx does? Yep. Yep. Exactly. Nice. So orphan, user documentation. What is this? I don't think I have seen double underscores. So double underscores module. Yep, I removed the modules in the last release, so that makes sense. It doesn't exist anymore. Extensions, this is only multi-line. However, Autodoc coverage, if config, view code, the to-do is new. The to-do is new. Git grab to-do. Here is a to-do in errors. So maybe it will render more beautifully now. If we go to client v2, all right, so if we go to Python docs Copr, this one, client v2. Yep, this is not linked, but it's here. And errors, which is this one. All right, we don't see anything. And if we go to our git Copr Python, we have our documentation, build, and HTML. So this is on my machine. If we go to version 2, error handling, by the way, why does it look so ugly live but not in my so the error handling to do implement, nothing is shown even if we used the to do here, but I don't really mind, it's for the version 2 page. But what the double underscore mean? So for example, package source types, if we go to client version 3, source package source type, and we have this, right? See user documentation for more information. This is what it... No. We want this line. This is the line. So after the update, it works fine. What about in the current production version? So it looks the same. It looks the same. So what's the reason for the underscores? Do we have it commented in the blame? So let's take a look at comments. Double underscore. A double underscore in package source type, duplicate explicit target name. Wow. All right. So version 3 source types. Yeah, because the name is user documentation at every place, and maybe it has a problem with that. If I scroll, duplicate explicit user documentation. All right. So this looks good. Otherwise, all right. So thank you very much for the PR, Anton. I have only one suggestion for the... Where is the import? Oh, we are at the commit right now. Let's jump here for the imports things rtd theme. Otherwise, it looks really good. Can you please... Should we squash those? Yeah, we can squash all. Can you please rebase the PR and squash all commits together so that we can merge? So this is one pull request that we just reviewed. Thank you very much again. I really like the pull request. And we also have a pull request that adds pagination for the pulp client get content. This is from Necroman, which is a teammate of mine. And I hope he doesn't mind having the pull request reviewed here as well. If yes, please let me know. So let's take a look at it. So first of all, he added a lot of tests, which is very, very good. I'm not going to read the tests. I'm interested in the code, at least at first. Also, there was a review from Pavel already, so he probably took a look at the tests as well. Let's take a look. So should we say his name or not? All right. He doesn't have his full name here, so let's not use it just in case. So Necroman implemented this paginated response class, which has a lot of attributes. It basically tries to mimic the standard response interface. So it has basically a response.ok, meaning is the status code successful or not. It mimics the response text, it mimics the response JSON. All right, so all in all, we should have a paginated response which basically has the same interface as response. Now, batched add remove content. This is a weird place to implement this, I would say, because, well, clearly it isn't. At the same place where this URL was called, which is exactly what I thought, what I had in my mind, he did this, which uses the same URL. So it's clearly at the correct place. All right, let's take a look in the code. We will clone the pull request and we will look at it inside of my editor. So code, copy this, let's go a few directories higher, check out this pull request. All right, and we are talking about pulp.py file. So pulp.py, and we have the paginated response here, and we return the paginated response here from the get content, right? So this is the correct place. This is definitely the correct place. So how is it that I see the batched? Oh, right. I'm dumb, as usual. It's because this is implemented right above it. So if we scroll up, so the batched add and remove is here, and the class, the new class, is implemented above it. So that's why we saw this in the diff. Makes complete sense. So this is only inside of the how is it called, the name. This is used only in get content, so that makes sense. Now the function before was so before the function was basically 8 lines, oh, plus this, so 10 lines of code. Is it possible? And now it is quite longer, which confuses me because I don't mind the code being there. I just would think that since we already introduced the paginated response, I would expect to serve this to serve as an abstraction, so that we don't have to do all the manual pagination work directly inside of the get content, right? So I think that's my main problem with what I'm seeing right now. Can we improve it? So I need to take a look at what did it look like. So we had params, and if fields then params, sure. So we had this basically, and URI equals the address plus URI URL encode. Yep, so we have this as well. Yep, we have this as well, and we have the response set. All right, so this is the original code. We had this before, and we moved it to the infinite loop and did some additional stuff. So what other stuff do we do? And keep in mind, I wrote I wrote few days ago, and now I'm starting all my comments with double slash. Jesus. So keep in mind the new code starts below, right? The code above is what we had already before. So if response not okay, then fail to fetch content page. Sure. Didn't we have something like that before? We didn't. Maybe we let the caller handle this. However, if response not okay, should we get, if the status code is incorrect, should we get this, or should we already be handling an exception? How do we call the send? So the send uses our save request implementation. That means all error codes should erase an exception, I think. That being said, if this happens, I don't think we should maybe return the response. I think we should maybe raise an exception. Failed to fetch content page. I mean, if response is not okay, we are returning a response. So let me comment it out, and maybe let's keep it on Necroman to decide what he wants to do with that. So I think imho, we are using the save request abstraction. So imho all non-OK status codes should raise an exception. I'm not sure if this condition catches, or I'm not sure if this condition is ever true. If yes, should we raise an exception instead of returning the response? Let's start a review. All right, so this is one thing I'm considering. Now, data. Sure, data are the JSON that we get from Pulp, and we get results or empty list if results are not inside of the response. In what case the results wouldn't be there? I'm not sure. Now, total count is none. If total count is none in the very first run, all right. So if total count is none, then we get the count from the response and log it, all right? So this could be a debug, but whatever. I don't mind it being info. Count 0. So why 0? In what case the total count wouldn't be there? Maybe if it's a failure, or we don't have any content, right? So if I query packages for a build that doesn't exist, then the count would be, it would be 0. Maybe the JSON would say it's 0, or maybe the JSON would look differently and then we need to specify the 0. But the case can happen, because if we query builds for query RPMs for a non-existing build, then we definitely need to consider 0 there. All results extend results. So of course that makes sense. We have all results here and we extend them. Now data next. So we can have a next URL inside of the response. If it is there, if it is not there, or the results is 0, then break. Sure. Therefore, if the next URL is there, we need to offset the next query by however many items we already got from the previous response, and go to the next page. So we start with page number 1. Where do we use this variable? So this is a condition for the first run. This is only output, iterating, adding it here. Incrementing was the word I was looking for, and printing here. So basically the only reason why we have this is to distinguish the first run. That's okay though, I don't mind that. And the only reason why we are distinguishing the first run is so that we can print a different line. And I think that's not worth it. If it was doing something that's actually needed, then I would say the variable is fine, but since it's just about distinguishing the log line, I think we don't need it. Let's comment it. So I think, where did I see this? It is called page num. Page num. So I don't think we need the variable. We basically only use it to distinguish the first run, the first run of the loop, so that we can print a different log text. I'd probably simplify it and simplify it. I'd probably simplify the code and drop the distinction. There is a typo here, 100%. Yeah, distinction. Right. So that was the page number. Now, what other variables do we have here? So we have all the results, which makes complete sense. We have the offset, which is used to offset the query, of course. We print it here and we increment the offset by the limit. That makes sense too. I'm hoping that if we end the first one at 1000 and start the next one at 1000, I hope there isn't one item left behind in between. Hopefully. We should probably test that, right? So if we change the limit to 2, for example, and we try to get content, I think we can use our helper script for that. So if we jump to Copr, we are in Copr. If we jump to our backend action container, clear this up, and if we run it should be somewhere here. No, doesn't seem to be. So query. So Copr pulp query href. Should this trigger it? If we put a debugger here, and we need to go to opt Copr backend run, probably Copr pulp query. Yep, it's here. So if we run the command again, we get because because for debugging purposes I have my pulp credentials on my local machine to use the staging instance because I was debugging something. So you will look at my Emacs. I will on a second screen change the credentials. So I'm opening my home directory .config/pulp/CLI toml. Yep, and I see the new credentials, I mean the staging credentials here, so I commented them out. I am uncommenting the previous ones, and if we run the command, it works now. Alright, so I'll switch back here. I will open this. Alright, so I changed the credentials, ran the exactly same command, and now we have an output. What do we see? What did we even query? And we didn't even get the breakpoint. So we are querying something we don't want to query actually. Do we have help for that query command? I think if we query a build ID, then we should get something. So build ID, if we jump to our local instance, and I'm thinking yeah, the large files I think I created in the staging instance, but this build should be a good reproducer. So if we put the build ID here, what's the problem? Oh, it's build, not build ID, right? And we got the debugger, and we got yeah, and we got an error. So this is something. If we could grab this, only this is all right. So we found a bug in the pull request. We need to mention it here. So the OK is fine, but the script uses this, which is not provided by this class. So either we would need to provide it here, or change the script to use response.ok. New review command. All right, we were talking about the limits and offsets. So now if we put a breakpoint also here, let's run this, jump to the next breakpoint. So we should have basically all of this available. Yeah, we have. Now, what's the total count? It's 4. What's this? It's 4. That looks reasonable. So if I do a limit, which would be 6, I should get the same result without any pagination, right? Len all results is still 4. The question is also, if we print foo here, so now it was 1 run of the cycle. If we do limit 2, it was 2 runs of the cycle, and we get the same number. If we do limit to 1, it will be more, yeah, and we should still get the same array len total count, not total count, but all results, right? It's still 4. So it doesn't lose anything here. That's good. We can drop, oops, I didn't want to remove the, yay. Never mind. So offset, right, offset makes sense. Limit makes sense too. And total count is interesting. We will talk about total count in a minute. I want to take a look at the original code. Yeah, it still worked with these values. All right, so that makes sense. Total count. What do we need to do about total count? If total count is none, then we say it's 0. All right. I think the total count is fine. All right, so that looks good. The last thing that we need to consider is what I said in the beginning. Is the abstraction the right abstraction? Because there is a lot of pagination handling in the get content itself. So if other function or method needs to do the pagination, it would need to do all the same manual hard work here. So I still think it should be handled by somebody else. So that we need to figure out. At the same time, is the paginated response the right abstraction? Could we use just a standard response? We probably couldn't, because we need the, yeah, we need the results. Yeah, I think to be honest, I don't like this very much. But I just cannot figure out why. But at the same time, I totally understand why it is here and why it is needed. Because we need something that just gives us the full results. We don't want all the other colors to think about how many pages they need to work with. We want them to think it wasn't paginated at all, basically. So this is the correct way to do it, I think. We just need yeah. So this is fine. This is fine. Could it also do all the other? So if we open pulp.py and search for the usage, could it have this stuff in it? The problem is this is very specific to the get content. So other callers would have to implement something else. Where are the params used? They are encoded here. So basically, if we created a function for the loop, it could take the URI and do all this stuff, but then I think we could, right? So if we created a function like def, let's create it here, so it is not a method but function. Let's say def all pages, and we do URI, and we do offset equals 0 and limit equals 1000. And if we take all of the stuff here, no, let's take all of this, So we have the loop here. Now we don't need to construct any of this because we have our URI. We already have this. So it still needs the query. Why does it need the query? Isn't the query part of the URI? So the query is queue inside of the params, and then the params are part of the URI. So we don't need the query basically. So if we do something like this, what's the problem here? There is a problem with self, right? So what's the self log? Self log is equal log. Log is passed. All right, so we can maybe do the same. So let's do log okay, let's have it as a part of the pulp client. So let's have it here. And let's have self URI. Now limit and offsets are passed. Page num, we already talked about that we wanted to remove it. So, but let's keep it here so that it's not dependent on the other comment that we had. This works, seems to. Do we return anything? We don't return anything. We basically need to return, yeah, we need to return this after the loop. So yeah, this is after the loop, correct. So we have this function which returns the paginated response. Now, what if we simply remove all of this and put a debugger here? Our previous function was something like this, right? So we take this, put this here, we have the breakpoint, let's run it. So offset is not defined. All right. So if we say offset equals 0, limit equals 1000, now we have URI, which looks like this. Can we simply call all pages URI offset limit like this? Self foo JSON, which prints 4 results, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this works. So we could basically do something like return this. This is not ideal, because the caller still needs to think about offset and limit. Also, isn't it always the same? No. Okay, because what if I have my limit 1 now? What happens now? It doesn't work. That's right. Because params. No. Why it stopped working? If we put a breakpoint here, what happens? Again. Yeah, we are in an infinite loop, right? So what's our offset? How so? All pages, we are here. pp offset. It was typo. Offset is this limit. This was 18 times? Strange. So previously, oh, I see that. Previously this was inside of the loop. So it changed every time. Now it doesn't. And we only have the URI, so we cannot update the query. Yeah, that's... Alright, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thoughts. We could, of course, take the, instead of URI, we could take something like query. And construct the URI inside of the loop, right? Like this. We could do that. That should immediately start working. I don't know what fields is, but it doesn't really matter, I think. Fields, what's fields? Fields. Oh, fields are passed from here. Alright, doesn't matter. So we could construct this here, the URI, but then it's too hard, too specific to get content that it doesn't really matter to abstract this. So yeah, I think we should keep it as is. So this clearly demonstrates the approach. I would implement it differently, and then an hour later you would implement it exactly the same way. It happens often. Alright, so I will just point it out. I was thinking if we should move the pagination logic to a separate function like that would do the while loop, etc. But after some experimentation, I think we think it's not as good idea as I originally thought, and we should keep it as it is now, right? So we commented about this paginated response, the race for status. Those can be configured. Do we need to risk configurable at least limit? No, I don't think so. Those can be don't need configurable limit. Can we keep the interface of the method, just return the same data format as before, just merging the results? Yeah, that was my question too, but we don't have any way of doing so if we don't use the abstraction that Necroman provided. So I think we need to keep it as is. And then we have the tests. Briefly, what the tests do. So he creates a mock response that is okay. That is okay and has some text or JSON. Sure. Now, single page. He creates the mocked response. Get content. All right, so he asserts. All right, sure. Multiple pages. Now, yeah, there is multiple requests. Partial third page. Sure. Yeah, yeah. I think this is fine. All right. So, otherwise, it looks very good. Thank you very much. I have some. Small suggestions, but overall the PR looks very good. Submit review. All right, so we did 2 pull request reviews. Hopefully we weren't too mean. I think we weren't. Both PRs are very appreciated, by the way, and both were very good. Guys, if you really hated or disliked that I did the review on in a video, please let me know. I will take it down, but hopefully it's fine. The PRs were quite good, so at least definitely better than my pull requests. So you know. All right, thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.